We're going to begin with confusion at the airports across the country after a federal judge struck down the federal mask mandate this week, saying the CDC had exceeded its statutory authority when it imposed a requirement to wear a face covering. That's ended now. But there are still some airports that say you need to mask up in order to comply with local mandates, local regulations. So let's bring in the president of the Association of Flight Attendants, Sara Nelson, who joins us more for this discussion. Sara, good to see you. You've been a flight attendant since 1996. It seems this is a moment, right? The end, it seems, of the mask mandate. How much has the job changed during the pandemic, do you think?
Well, the job is a completely different job, Terry, I have to tell you. So, and it's a bit disorienting because we have always been on the front lines of stopping the spread of communicable disease in transportation and aviation. We actually fought very hard for training to be able to help us do that. And we got OSHA training on board our aircraft and for our jobs that helps us address that, protect ourselves, try to protect passengers. We have always looked to the healthcare authorities for those instructions and then to provide instructions to the public about what is the most safe for them. And this pandemic has been really disorienting because it has all been about politics. And so people may be ready to move on from the mask mandate, from the requirement of masks, but we still have a pandemic to deal with here. And so the job has been very stressful because we have not been able to properly do our job. We've been challenged. We have been put in the crosshairs of this political debate that has oftentimes turned into a physical confrontation on board our planes. And it's hard to come to work. So fewer people are picking up overtime hours. We've had staffing shortages. We have fewer staff on the job, able to help each other on the planes or in the gates or at the concessionaires or anywhere else. And we don't really have access to international travel like we did before. The job has changed tremendously. We're working longer days with fewer people in greater conflict, and it's been very difficult. Everybody wants to get back to what we had before, but it seems that right now there's no immediate end in sight.
You know, we're rolling pictures now for our viewers of some of these incidents. Every time I hear about it, I just can't believe these idiots. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that, but what happened on planes is shocking and depressing. And so this is a moment. We've also seen the pictures of when flight attendants in midair got word of the news that the judge had struck down the ban. Many were cheerful. Let's listen to one of those reactions. That's pretty funny. So what do you think after 2 years? Is there a real sense of joy out there or concern, do you think?
Well, it's a real mixed bag, Terry, and that's the problem. And the problem with switching a policy that has been a federal policy mid-flight or anything in aviation or on transportation is that you can't walk away, you can't opt out. So there were people who got on our flights yesterday and people who went to work yesterday with a certain set of rules that have to do with safety for themselves and their families. We still have kids under the age of 5 who can't get vaccinated, parents who are worried about that, immunocompromised people who are using this transportation to get to other medical care, and because of the medical conditions they have, they don't have access to the vaccine. So changing the rules on people immediately like that is can create a lot of chaos and confusion, and that can give rise to conflict as well. We're also concerned about the backlash here. Now flight attendants are going to be left holding the bag, dealing with the fact that since there's not a federal rule, not something consistent for everyone, people do have different views about this. And there will be someone on board who's wearing a mask for their own protection, very worried about the conditions on board. And really what we have to get back to is the spirit that we're all in this together. The vast majority of people come to the door of our aircraft with kindness in their heart and a desire to have a safe, uneventful flight. We would just call on everyone to give an extra second to pack your patience and lift up that spirit of kindness, because there's a small number of people who are continuing to create conflict, and that really threatens the safety and health of everyone on board, and it threatens the efficiency of your flight as well.
Sure.
So we really need everyone to help us make aviation a positive experience and one that we can all do together.
Absolutely. We all, have a role and responsibility on the flights, but it sounds almost like you don't think we're going to see fewer conflicts like that people do feel so strong, mandate or not, about masking. Some people, as you point out, need more protection because of their status, their immune status. Do you think this is going to die down or not?
Look, it's going to look different probably, Terry. It's going to change, but also what I want to just note is that we're still dealing with the pandemic. So we're also going to have people getting sick, which is going to create staffing shortages whenever there are operational meltdowns, flights are canceled. That also raises the temperatures in our airports and on our planes. So we've still got a lot ahead of us here to deal with, and a lot of things that can create conflict. First and foremost, we're really calling on the airlines, the airports, and the government to be very clear about what the rules are, because as you said, coming into this segment, the rules are different depending upon the local ordinances. And so people need to be very aware that just because we've had an end to the federal mask mandate, the rules in each location may be very different. So look to the people who are giving those instructions. Try to be thoughtful about the people around you and recognize that we're still in a pandemic. We still have to be very thoughtful about how we're looking out for one another.
And just be a decent human being, right? For all involved.
That's all we ask, Terry. That's all we ask, yes.
You didn't think that it'd be that much, but it does seem so. And we wish all the flight attendants, we really appreciate the work you guys do and wish you well in the coming months. Sara Nelson, thanks very much.
Thank you so much, Terry.
Well, as travel